Hey guys, welcome back to our next lesson. Carrying on from lesson 1, and we're going to do a lot more on the laying out the drawing views, okay, and then we'll get into bill of materials and some other more advanced configuration stuff, okay. Let's just get straight into it. From the last class, where we got to was our first sheet with standard 3 views and an isometric view, and a sheet 2 with a side view and a section view. That's good. If we refer back to our drawings, our existing drawing set, you can see that's exactly what we've got. Okay, we're going to be matching on those. Now I'm just going to pop this down in the bottom corner here, so we can have this for reference as we're working through those screens. And I might just bring this in. Okay, very good. So page 1 in our drawing set is the side view with the section view and the bill of materials. But you'll notice in our drawing set where we've got 2 sheets at the moment, and you can see just at the bottom of the screen, just to the left of my head here. So we've got sheet 1 and sheet 2. Now to flick between those sheets, you can just click on them and that will activate that sheet. You can also see in the feature tree for the drawing set, the current sheet that is active. And I just want to touch on this quickly. We don't spend a lot of time on it, but just introduce you to what's going on here. So this Pulley drawing set is our file. Then we have sheet 1, and the sheet format for sheet 1, and then our drawing views. And you can see as you click on a drawing view, it will highlight on the screen which drawing view that is. In this case, it's this one here on the side view. So you can see as I roll over them, it's showing what each of the views are. Now, if I want to go to sheet 2, I can also right click here and go activate, and that's going to take me to that sheet 2. And again, I can see those 2 drawing views. Now, you can also do some tricky things in those drawing views. You can actually click on a view, press that arrow to expand and expand. You can see the feature tree and you can see all of the parts. You can basically see the whole feature tree as you would in an assembly or a part file. And from there, there's more advanced things you can do, such as hide parts, make them transparent, things like that. And we're not going to get into that in this project, but just want you to be aware of it to know that it's there. Okay, and you can play around with it in your own time. One thing I did want to point out though was our sheets are in a different order from what we have in our drawing set. So in our drawing set, page 1 is this one, page 2 is this. So we need to flip ours around. All you need to do is click and drag, and you can reorder those sheets. So now I've got sheet 2 first. And I'm just going to rename the sheet so I know what it is as well. This is going to be my bill of materials sheet, so BOM. And then sheet 1, I'm going to rename. This is going to be my General Assembly sheet. And this can be helpful for when you create a drawing set which has multiple sheets, like we will in this project, for you to quickly find what each of those drawing sets are. So we'll end up with 11 pages, and we'll just name those as we add those drawings. All right. Now let's go through and work on adding a bunch of drawing views to get really comfortable with that tool. So I'm going to click New Sheet. Now this note that comes up here talks about blocks. There are blocks with duplicate names on other sheets. Now a block is a grouped or a saved group of sketches. Sometimes it can be a logo. In this case, it might be this third angle orthogonal symbol on the page, or it might be the sheet format itself. You can use already existing blocks or rename the new blocks. Do you want to rename? You can say yes or no for your drawings. Does not matter. So just click whichever one you want and continue on. It's nothing you have to worry about. Okay, so now I've got onto our third sheet. Our third sheet, would you know, is an exploded view. Now we haven't done an exploded view yet, so we're going to come back to that. But we're going to leave that sheet there. Actually, I'm going to rename it, exploded view. Okay. And another thing I'm going to do, in my drawing set, in my sheet format that I created, we have these general notes that are currently carrying across every single page. We actually don't need that for all of our subsequent pages. We only really want that on our first sheet. These kind of notes, as shown here, would typically be used in a drawing set where there's only one page. All right, so the project we're doing is a little bit different. So what I'm going to do before I go and create the rest of the sheets of the drawing, I'm going to edit this sheet format, and I'm just going to delete these notes, press OK, and I'm going to do the same on this sheet 2 here. And we'll just see what happens as an experiment when we add a new sheet. Okay, so now we have sheet 1 with the notes, sheet 2 without them, sheet 3 without them. And we press add sheet, you can see they come back because we haven't saved the sheet format. So what I'm going to do, let's now delete that one. So showing you how to delete a sheet, you can right click and then press delete. Yes, you'll always get a confirmation unless you check this box here if it don't show again. We're going to save this sheet format and I'm going to save this one with a different name. So it's going to be my Pulley A3 drawing blank. Press save and then I'm going to reload it on this page. So I go to properties, browse, I'm going to find that sheet format to reload it. And now when I press new sheet, that new sheet does not have those notes again. Okay, so that should be nice and clear and we can continue on. So sheet 4 is going to be a standard 3 view, a section view, isometric view, and a couple of other before and after views of our sub-assembly. All right, so how do we get to the sub-assembly? If I click on standard 3 view now, or model view, there's no open documents currently, so there's nothing there for me to pull from. This gives me a chance to show you how this browse feature works. So I click on browse, and it's going to take me to my folder with all of my parts. I'm going to browse for the sub-assembly and press open, and it goes straight to putting the standard 3 view in because I had that button selected at the time. That's great. Now I'm just going to reposition them on the page, but again, I'm not adding any dimensions or notes at this time. I'm going to save that all for a bit later. We do want to add in a section view, which is section view B. We can see how we've done that with a sketch or a section from the front view drawing. So we're going to repeat the process here to do a section view. You can press the section view button first, or you can select a drawing view first. I'm going to select section view, and then depending on which drawing view my cursor is nearest, you can see the pink bounding box. Okay, when I drop and click, it's obviously going to drop it on that drawing view. So I'm going to use the center point here of this circle. I'm going to select auto hatching, press OK. I'm going to drag this drawing view out, and then I am going to move it up towards the top. To do that, remember we right click, go alignment, break alignment, and then we can drag it up to that position. Now I'm dragging it up to that position because later I'm going to put potentially this before and after view into my drawing. So I'm just going to allow some space there. I'm also going to do an isometric view. The quickest way to do an isometric view is to click the projected view tool, click on the front view, and then with your cursor, your mouse, just drag up to the right and click, and then you can click and drag over to this position. Very good. The before and after views, we can add those in now as a placeholder. Another way to add an additional view to your drawing is to copy an existing view. So these before and after views, while they look different, they're both the front view. Just one of them has an exploded version. I'm going to click on the front view that we can see here on the left. With it selected, and that's selected because you can see the blue bounding box, I'm going to press Ctrl-C on the keyboard, click on the page and press Ctrl-V, and it drops the pasted drawing view where my cursor is. And then I'm just going to reposition here. Now, because we've copied that view, it does have a section drawing through it, but that section drawing is not connected. That section line is not connected to the section BB drawing above. I can delete it. I will get this warning, but that drawing view remains because it's connected to this one over on the left. Now, because our sheet format is a bit different on this drawing compared to the example one, we may move these things around later. So I'm not going to do too much on that yet. We'll do more to this page when we come back and do the bill of materials. I am going to rename the page sub-assembly. All right, next sheet. Now we get into the parts. So this one is the pivot pin. Now there's a quick way to open up parts from your drawings. What you'll learn is that everything in your drawing, if it's a SolidWorks part or assembly, is referenced in that drawing. So I can here on this page, I can right click on that pivot pin and I can go straight here to open part. And that's going to open that file for me. So if I've got multiple versions of parts in a folder and I'm not sure which one to open, if I'm just looking in Windows Explorer, the drawing will always have a reference to an existing part. So to be I know for certain that this is the current file that is in my folder there. Now, there are some advanced methods to change those references, which we'll show in an advanced tutorial later on. This page, so the pivot pin, we've got a front, top, and side views with multiple section views and an isometric view. Okay, so let's do a standard 3 view of the pivot pin. And we'll notice as well the scale of these is a bit different. So this page here, it says 1:1, but that is not correct. The sheet scale is actually 2:1. So something there in that sheet format is not working as intended. Okay, there it is. I hit the rebuild button, Control B. That's updated the sheet format to match the scale of this page. Very good. So we have the standard 3 views that have been added into the drawing. Let's just try and realign to match the example here. We'll then choose projected view to add in an isometric drawing. And then the rest of the drawings are section views. Now there's a series of section views in this example. If we just go full screen for a minute, we can see that there is section view CC, which goes through the middle of the front view. And then there's section D and E, which are going horizontally. Now those dimensions there, 2 and 15, they call back to our original sketches of that part where we drew those ellipses at those 2 planes. Okay, and so here we're able to dimension in the drawing, okay, the exact sizes that we use to create that organic loft shape. And we're going to replicate that here. So let's start with the section view on the front view. So I'm going to click section view, cutting line. I'm going to go through the middle. I'm going to drag it to the side, press OK. So that's our first view. Our second view, we can do section view, and this time we click horizontal. I'm going to drop it in the middle of that circle. And you can see the arrows DD, they're pointing up. We actually want to point it down so we can see the rest of the part in reference to what we're cutting. So I press here flip direction, and that's going to flip those arrows and flip the view of the section view. Okay, so now it's pointing down, and I'm just going to right click and go alignment, break alignment, and bring it over to the side. Now you'll notice in our example, this section view is actually EE. I'll show you how we can change that in a second. I'm going to do the next section view as well. Now this one, there's no point for me to lock onto. Like there's no center point or edge. What I'm going to do is just roughly position the section view, press flip direction. Again, alignment, break alignment. I'm going to bring it over to the side. What I'm going to do with this one is add a dimension. I'm going to dimension from this edge here. Now I haven't shown you how to do dimensions in sketches in drawings yet, but it's exactly the same as it is when you're creating a sketch in a SolidWorks part. So to do it, we go annotation, smart dimension. I'm going to click on this line here, and then I'm going to click on the section line, and then drag across my cursor and drop. And I'm going to type in 2, enter. And when we rebuild, okay, so again, press the rebuild button at the top or press Control B, it moves that sketch, that section segment down to that position. That's great. All right, so now we've got all our section views. We're just going to align these with that top view. So I'm going to go alignment, align horizontal by origin. Okay, so now this one is in line. Same with this one, alignment, origin. And then swapping the letters. Okay, how to do that? Well, when you click on a section view drawing, and you can see the properties for the section view EE, you can see also here is the letter, and that letter can be changed. So I can delete, type in D, but we see problem. D is already being used. Do you want to use it again? Typically, you only want one instance of a letter for a section view or a detail view or any other view throughout your whole drawing set. So normally you would say no, and you would pick something else. Here we're going to say yes, because I'm going to click on the next view and I'm going to put in E and change that one. So now it matches our example drawing in the bottom right. All right. Let's save our drawing and try and do that regularly. I'm going to right click on the name at the bottom, and this is going to become P01. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more drawing pages to put our views into. So what we're going to do now is click on Add Sheet another 6 times. We're going to get to sheet 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this will be sheet 11. It says sheet 10, but you can see 11 of 11, which is fine. Now, font's a bit big. Maybe we'll tweak that later. Okay, so that's all the sheets we need. Now we can rename them so that we know exactly what we're going to put on each page. And we will just do that in order. So from 1 down to 7. And as I'm doing this, You're probably thinking to yourself, hold on, didn't we also have a nut and a bolt in our drawings? Where are we going to do drawings for those? That's a very good question. Now, normally, if you're manufacturing a product and you're specifying a nut or a bolt and you're making a custom nut or bolt, you would have a drawing for that hardware. However, in this project and in many projects that you'll do over the years, you're likely using off-the-shelf parts. In this case, we're using a standard, I think it was M10 bolt, 45 long with a hex head. There is no need to specify a drawing for that part for something such as this. Instead, a note in our bill of materials here to say the size or the spec will be sufficient. So we're not going to do separate drawings for those parts, but they are going to be listed in their bill of materials. All right, so let's continue on. Now we're up to part 02. So we're going to go here. We're going to go view layout, standard 3 view, and we can browse, find part 02, open, and it drops in those parts. Now you'll notice for this page, again, something a bit different, and maybe you can even see it yourself when you're looking on the screen. This front view and this side view are exactly the same. Do you think there is any point for you to have 2 drawing views exactly the same going to your supplier or on your page? If you're thinking about communication, what you need to include, and trying to be really concise with your information, remove all the clutter, having double views like this is totally pointless. You can see in our example on the right, we've got a front view and a top view, but then we've got rid of a side view and it's been replaced with a section view. And that's a much better use of the space that you have on the page to communicate to whoever it is. So in this example, what we'll do is select that view on the right and just hit the delete key on the keyboard. And we're going to delete the following items. Yes. Okay. And then we're going to create a section view on the front view, drag that out to the side, and create a projected view from that front view and put that up the top right. Easy. Right. We will come back and tweak a lot of these elements and talk about them once we've got all our views out. We're going to get all our views done and then we will come back and add more detail. So next, part 03. Now, this one is a little bit different. Again, when I hit the preview, you can see I've got orientation, it's on the front view. I just get this really skinny preview of my part. Now, there's nothing wrong here, that is the front view. So if I drop that view and I open the file and I go to front view, this front view is exactly what I see in my drawing. To check that, I can turn the planes on, I can go show planes and just tilt around and you can see the front view is actually the side of the product, the side of the part. It's the right view is the one that I really want to show in the drawing, okay? So there's a couple of ways of getting around this. I'm going to show you 2 methods. First method, in my drawing, is to click on that drawing view, and I'm just going to change the scale of the drawing to 1:1, make it a bit bigger. Click on that drawing view, and under standard views here, I'm just going to click on the next one, across, and then it rotates that view. Now this is also handy when you have, let's say, other views connected to it, so like a top view and a side view. If I change the orientation of that first view, it's also going to change the dependent drawings. The dependent drawings are the ones that are connected to the first drawing. Press yes, you can see everything changes in one place. Now that is one method. Let's go back to the front view and then Control Tab, go back to the file. Here is a second method. This is my front view in the drawing view. If I hold Shift and press an arrow and go around 90 degrees, this is now my right view. But I can actually change what this view is related to. I can't change the planes, okay, front, top, and right. Yes, you can rename them, but in the SolidWorks system, it's not actually going to change anything. But what I can do is press spacebar, bring up my orientation pop-up, and I can press Update Standard Views. Now, what that will do is select the standard view you would like to assign the current view to. So I'm currently on the right, but I can actually change this to being the front. And then it gives us a warning. Changing the standard view will change the orientation of any standard, orthogonal, named, and child views in drawings of this model. Yes. Okay. So I close and press save. Now, if I click on the front view here and I go normal to, it takes me back to that plane. Okay. So this is a plane and I'm going normal to. The planes are different from the actual views. Here, if I click on the front, it takes me to the view that we just set. And if I Control Tab back to my drawing, you can see it has now flipped that view as well to be on the front view. Cool. All right. Now, in our example, you can see we don't have a side and top view for this part. Wondering why? This part's a flat part. There's no information to be gained from those side views, except for the thickness of the part. And in our drawing set, example drawing set, that thickness is communicated in our bill of materials. It may also be communicated at the stage in general notes on the page, for instance. But as far as drawing communication, it offers no value, so we take it out. And then this page is done with drawing views. Let's go to the next page, P04. All right, we're going to go standard 3 view, browse, and find P04, open. Now, I can't remember whether or not we turned this into sheet metal, but it looks like we have. So that's great. It's going to save us a little bit of time. Hopefully you've done the same thing. Now, I'm going to first add my isometric view. So just do a projected view from the front one, bring that across. Now for the flat pattern view, the sheet metal view, for that we click model view, we select our part, we double click, and then you can see in the options, we have our standard views, and then under more views, now we also have a flat pattern option. Now, if I click the flat pattern option and I drag out my cursor, you can see I get a preview of how big that's going to be. I can drop, and it adds a flat pattern automatically for us. Now, there's some tricky things to note about what's happening when SolidWorks does this for you. You can get in, if you're not aware of how configurations and sheet metal works, and you click on this view and you open it, you'll notice that you come in and it's actually showing the part in that flattened state. Okay, and then you might, let's say I'm going to fold it up again and make some more changes or do things. And I go back to my drawing, my flat pattern's gone. Without knowing it, what you've done is rebent your sheet metal part from the flattened state, and in the flattened configuration, it's no longer flat. I know, it's a bit dumb. SolidWorks should probably fix it. It's all to do with this configurations here and what happens in sheet metal. So you can see we're in the flat pattern configuration here. We will have a separate class on configurations. Okay, flat pattern configuration. But our part's not flat. So all we need to do is just hit the flatten button again. We can save, we can go Control Tab back to the drawing, and now that flat pattern should come back. And it has, thankfully. If you want to edit the part, go to one of the other drawing views and open from that state, and the drawing will open in that configuration, which is here, the standard configuration. Okay, so those views are good. Let's move on. Part 05 is this one. In the PDF, I think they're out of order a little bit, but you guys are smart enough to work that out. We're going to do model view, browse, part 05. And we've got the same issue as before with the front view. We'll just change it this time and drop that on the page. Increase the sheet scale to 2:1. This one has an isometric view, so we'll put that in. And then the new view type that we have on this page is what's called a detail view. And the detail view is where you can zoom into a little element of your drawing and create a view of that section in a larger scale. So the detail view button is up here on view layout, and click detail view. And with the detail view, what happens is it opens a sketch. Now that sketch by default is a circle, but you can separately sketch any shape you want, as long as it's a closed shape, like let's say triangle, rectangle, pentagon. It will then take a detailed view of what's inside that and blow it up. Now we're gonna just highlight around this text here. So I'm gonna just click on a random point, just make a circle that's going over both edges, and then drag that across to the right and drop. That's how you do a detail view. Now your detail view has a letter assigned to it, just like the section views does. And the detail view, you can change the scale independently. So I can say, actually, I want that to be 5:1. And if you stuffed up with the section view, if you stuffed up with the size or position of that detail view, you can change it. So you can click on the shape and you can make it bigger or smaller. You can grab the center point and drag it. Now I put mine on the center point of this L, so I can't do that without right clicking on it and going edit sketch, clicking on that center point, deleting that relation, and then I should be able to drag it now. Yeah, see, accept, okay. Now we're done, very good. 2 more view layouts, views to go. We have the bush, part 06. We do a front view, do an isometric view, and we will do in this one a side view. There's no need for a top view. like we did with the washer earlier, it's a repeat view. There's no need for it. On this page, you could potentially do a section view, but I think all the detail that you need can be seen from these existing views, so that's fine. And the last one, part 7. This has 2 of those elements put together. We have both a detail view and a section view. Let's go model view, browse, find part 07, drop that here. We'll do a projected view to one side, and we'll also do isometric view. All right, so first one is the section view. Actually, the detail and section view, you could do either one first. We'll just do the section view first, and we're going to make our section view bigger, so we'll just click on that view and change the scale to 2:1. Now on our drawing compared to that drawing there, the same layout doesn't work, so we might move things around. I'm also going to add the detail view, so I'm going to click on detail view, I'm going to click here and draw a circle approximately the size of the other one to get the rib detail view up the top. And in that drawing it was 3:1. So I just customize that scale. All right, so what we're going to do here is just reposition this section view and put it over on the left. I'm just going to move these views around. We're just moving around until we've got some nice spacing on the screen. Later we're going to add the annotations, but for now, those view layouts are looking really good. Now, how I zoom to fit, a little keyboard shortcut. If let's say I've zoomed out or zoomed right in and I want to get back to just seeing everything on the page, just press the F key and that'll take you to zoom to fit. So it'll fit the entire page on the screen. Okay, so let's save and let's just have another look through our drawings. So we've got part 07, our bush, part 06, reinforcing plate. We've got here our form bracket, side plate, washer, pivot pin, sub-assembly, exploded view to come, general assembly and bolt. All right, fantastic. So we've covered off here detail views, model views, 3-way views, and projected views. There are 2 more things with views to cover off, and we're going to do both of those while creating this exploded view. All right, now exploded views are a lot of fun. Let's open up our general assembly. I'm going to go here, and instead of clicking on a part and clicking open, just going to click on the box and click open, and that's going to open the assembly. I'm going to hide the planes that I had open, and what we're going to create here is an exploded view. Now, exploded views are one of the really cool features of assembly files. And we'll actually go down and we'll start with the sub-assembly, because we do need to do an exploded view of the sub-assembly, as you can see here with these configurations. Now, we haven't done it yet, which is good. I'm going to show you how to do it. So first, all we have to do is press the exploded view button in the assembly. Now, how the explodes work, all the steps that you have will be listed up the top. You can see there's none there at the moment, but as we add them, they'll list there. Steps that you've added can be deleted, edited, or reordered. To add a step, there are 2 ways of doing it. One is a regular step, and the second option is a radial step. A radial step is where you've got a bunch of parts and you might like move them all out at the same time. Okay, so maybe you've got a nut and a bolt and you want them both to go out different ways. Or you've got some sort of circular pattern and you've got 3 or 4 things that all go out from the middle point. In this product here, I don't think we've got any need for that tool, so we'll just click on regular steps. Now we'll just go through the sequence, very easy. Don't need to overcomplicate this one. We can select a part and then we can click an arrow and we can drag and we drop and we press done, and that has added the step. That is all you need to do. And you can see here now we've got explode step 1 and it's got PO2 underneath it. To add another step, just repeat the process. Click on a part, click an arrow, in this case we'll drag up and press done, and we're done. Press the tick and you have created an exploded view. Now, one thing to note, when you're in an exploded view, you can't add mates, you can't do editing, you can't do anything that is creating something new when you're in an exploded view. Exploded view is a display state, all right, that shows your parts in a certain position or location. You can, let's say, right-click on the assembly and press collapse, and that's going to take them back to their normal positions, and now you can do mates and editing like you would have otherwise. To get back to your exploded view, you can right-click on the sub-assembly and go explode. That'll take you back. Now, to see where that's saved, or if you want to like edit your exploded view, you click on this configuration manager at the top of the screen, and then under default 1, there'll be a little drop down, and then you can see exploded view 1, and then under that you can see all of the steps. To edit it, you right click and go edit feature, and that will enable you to edit your exploded parts. There's a couple more tools in exploded parts here that we're not going to cover over today because they're part of a more intermediate or advanced session, which we would run at some point. But if you get time, play around with those tools and see how it works. Okay, so we've got an exploded view in the sub-assembly. We will come back to the configuration after we finish the exploded view for the general assembly. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to Control Tab back to the general assembly. And I'll show you why this is useful when we create this exploded view here. All right, so the same thing in the sub-assembly, exploded view. And what we're going to do is think about it logically how this pulley goes together. Now with the drawing example you've got here, the answer's already there. All right, so we just need to follow the steps. Now we might have our nuts and bolts on different sides, that doesn't matter. So what I didn't show you before though, because we didn't have enough parts, is you can select and explode multiple parts at the same time. In this instance, we're going to select both bolts, or even let's do both nuts, and click the arrow, and I'm going to drag them right out and press done. And those are done. Right, now, you can do this in any order you want. Remember, you've got the ability to edit the order later, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm just going to click the rest of these parts, press done, done. I'm also going to get the bush, and I reckon my assembly is missing a second bush. All right, well, we'll just explode one, then I'll show you how to get a second one in there and edit the exploded view to put it back in. It's done on that one. Then we'll go to the other side, bolts, out, reinforcing plate, out, side plate, out. Pulley wheel, does that need to move? Probably not. Sub-assembly. Now, we're going to move this one up, and then I'm going to show you a new trick, which is I select the sub-assembly, and then in my property manager, I'm going to select reuse explodes right down the bottom from sub-assembly, and it's going to add the steps that are already created in that sub-assembly file. So I don't need to recreate them. You can imagine how this can be very useful if you're doing really complicated assemblies to prevent you from having to double up your work. You do it once in the sub-assembly, come up to the next level, you can reuse it. All right, so our drawing example doesn't have that section exploded. You can do it however you want, okay? We might leave it exploded here because I think it tells a bit of it. We might not leave it here. We might take that out, but just for now, I want to show you how that works. So if we want to delete one of these steps, we just click on it. You can right click and press delete, and that's going to remove that step. Now I'm going to press the tick because I mentioned we only had one of these bushes in our assembly. It's obviously an error that we didn't pick up in the original project, so I might have to edit that at some point. So we're going to get that part in. I'm just going to hide a couple of parts, hide those ones, hide that one, and I'm going to make another bush. I'm just going to add similar mates, and I'm going to make sure it is in line, and I'm going to make sure it's fully defined. So the top and top mated, Z parallel. All right, so now I've got a second bush in there. Just reorder that, show the original parts and the bolt. All right, so now we've added a new component in. When we go to our exploded view, that part remains in its original position. We want to edit this exploded view, and we're going to find the step that explodes that bush. We can see it's step 4. So now with step 4 selected, if I select another part, it's automatically going to add it into that step. Now, this can prove troublesome, like if you select other parts, they're all going to get added in. You don't want that. So always be wary of what's included. That's looking good now though. I'm going to press done and OK, and that's looking really cool. Just done your first exploded view. So now in the drawing, you can see we've actually got these dotted lines going from end to end. That is another feature, another tool that you can do inside the assembly when you're doing an exploded view. And that is on this drop down under exploded view is exploded line sketch. Now, when we hit that button, we go into a 3D sketch mode. The best way to explain it is that it is for connecting existing bodies or parts. Again, it's a really simple tool, and if you're getting into trouble creating things, lines that are going all over the place, you're just doing it wrong. Just backtrack, go back, or delete what you've done, start again, and you get the hang of it. what we want to do here is select each of the holes as we're going through. And for things like nuts and bolts, you don't necessarily want to click on a face like up the top edge there, because you can see you get this preview of a line that comes across and down. We don't want that. What you want to do is click on a circular face like this, make sure the arrow is pointing the right way, and then click on the next face. Now, these are all in a line. You can actually skip that middle one and just click this one here. You can see the preview looking good. And then I want it to jog up and go through here. I don't have to do anything fancy. I just click this face and it will do it automatically. And then I'm going to come all the way through to this bolt, this nut. Now that line is done. I press the tick and then I've got one route line that's been completed. I'm going to do the same thing down the bottom, but this time I'm just going straight all the way through. So I'm just clicking the first and the last points and press OK. Now if I want to exit this tool, I press the tick, hitting the cross may cancel everything that I've just done. So I'm not going to do that. But if you've already done your route lines, you've editing them, you made changes, you want to discard changes, then you can hit the cross. And then press accept to leave the 3D sketch. And now those are part of the drawing. Now something funny has just happened there with my exploded views. I don't know what. I think we all saw that though. Now this exploded, the route lines, they will disappear when you collapse, okay? There's definitely something very funny going on. Yeah, classic SolidWorks. Let's open that up again. Let's edit the exploded view just to make sure everything's looking okay. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay. I really can't explain it, but I can show you here how to edit. Okay, so we just want to move some of these a little bit more. And these ones a little bit more. These ones a little bit more. And these a little bit less. Just to spread them out. And we press OK. And now that looks much better. Except there's something really wrong going on here. Okay, well, let's try and troubleshoot it together. So one thing, when you're doing exploded views and then you exit the exploded view, sometimes your parts look all underdefined. It's not true. If you try and click and drag something or press Control B or rebuild, often they'll rebuild to the right position. You can see here it's actually fixed up whatever funny stuff was happening, and it's put it back in the right place. So look, everything looks okay. We're going to save, and then we're going to go Control Tab back to our drawing view. We'll go onto that page for exploded view, and we're going to add a view in. Now we'll go model view this time. We'll click the assembly, and let's try an isometric view, okay? Now to get it into the exploded state in our feature property tree for the drawing view, we click this box here, show in exploded state. And then our parts, you can see, spread out. That's great. Now there's a few things we need to tweak. First, we want to get it at 1:1 scale on this drawing, but then we've got another problem that it doesn't quite fit. All right, now this is your challenge. You have to get this into a 1:1 scale at an angle that's going to fit on the page. How would you go about it? First, I want to show you that you can create a custom view in your SolidWorks part or assembly file and then use that view in your drawing. Because if I click here on these standard views, I click trimetric or diametric, like maybe this is the one we will use, okay? But if I want to get like really specific and do an exploded view here, let's say I want it to be like just a little bit underneath like this. So I'm just using my arrow keys. I can press the space bar and click new view and I can name it. Doesn't matter if it's explode or not exploded. That's independent of the actual drawing view. And then I can click on this drawing view and you can see under more views now I have this EX that I can click on. And when I click that, the view goes to that drawing angle. So this can be useful for when you're trying to work out with exploded views how far apart your parts or sub-assemblies need to be spaced so that nothing's overlapping. All right? And that's the other challenge in this little task here. You can see in the example page, nothing is overlapping. So we want to do the same thing. I'm going to think it's in the diametric view. So we want to go back and edit from that view. So another tip, if you want to open up the part or assembly in that view, instead of clicking Open Assembly, you can click Open Assembly in Position. And that's going to take you all straight away to that view angle. And if we go Exploded View, here we can see just how spaced out our parts are. And so here we can edit them and we can move them all slightly closer together. So What we're going to do is just move parts one at a time so they're close together but not overlapping. Give it a little bit of space, drag it right in, and our route lines are going to update automatically as well. Very helpful. Move that one. So this should make a big difference once we go back to our drawing view and we see how everything fits on a page. So that's looking much better now. This one can come down a little bit too. Let's go up a bit more. Yep, and press OK. Just save that, tab back, and voila. Nice exploded view. The only funky thing is happening here with this route line around the bush, but we can go back and space that out a little bit more, but otherwise looking really good. So let's, if we want to, we can edit that sketch. Click this line. I can just drag it, press OK, and we get that funny stuff happening again that we were talking about earlier. I'm glad you're all witnesses now. You can see that I haven't done anything wrong. There's something funny with this mirror component here. I don't exactly know why, but I think we're okay now. Save, close, go into our drawing, and that's looking really good. Fantastic. All right, and that ticks off the last of our drawing views that we need to do. And that's going to be it for this class. So look, I hope that was really helpful for you playing and learning how to do your drawing views. We've covered off all the main types of views that you need. Not every single drawing view. You can see there's a few more here on this view layout toolbar. Auxiliary views, broken out sections, alternate position views. Those things are a bit more advanced. Okay, the basics are everything that we've just covered. So I really hope that was helpful. Let's continue on in the next lesson. I think there might be one or two more in this series to finish off with this drawing set. In the next lesson, we'll get into some of those configurations and probably start doing some annotations and dimensions as well. Okay, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and found something new to enhance your SolidWorks skills. Don't forget to subscribe to Fully Defined for more tutorials, tips and insights from a certified SolidWorks expert. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below. I read all comments and love hearing your feedback. Remember, with the right skills and tools, you can turn your design dreams into reality. Keep modeling, keep learning, and always fully defined.